I've been talking about this for several months. The Bitcoin miners cannot continue to just... All right, welcome to Talkin' Investing. I am Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to talk about RIOT Blockchain. They gave their March operations and Bitcoin mining update, so I want to go through that in detail. I want to go through their stock and their stock price, and I will give you my thoughts on where they're trading right now and where I think they may be going. We cover the Bitcoin miners quite a bit on this channel, so if that's content you're interested in, or if you are new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. And also, please feel free to leave a comment below. Also, in our pinned comment, you will see a link to our free Discord. We'd love to have you over there. So let's talk about RIOT Blockchain. Right now, they're trading at $15 and around 90 cents. So they're down almost 5% on the day. And again, today is April 11th, and it's still in the morning hours of trading. Right now, at this level, that leaves RIOT with a market cap of $1.87 million. This is very historically low for them over the last year. Oftentimes, people get confused with price and market cap. Due to dilution and raising funds, oftentimes that can be misleading. So I like to look at the market cap itself, because obviously stock dilution should not affect the market cap in a negative way, only the stock price. With a market cap of $1.87 million, if we go to this chart, you will see last February 15th, so that is just over 1 year ago, RIOT had a market cap of $5.9 billion. So you're going to see last February compared to this February, RIOT is multiples larger than it was at that time as a company in revenue, in Bitcoin production, in infrastructure. So this company has grown drastically, yet its market cap has gone from almost $6 billion to $1.87 billion. Even if we went from this more recent point of November 8th, which is when Bitcoin hit its recent high, RIOT had a market cap of $4.25 billion, so it's much less than half that right now, 4 or 5 months later here. So much like all the other Bitcoin miners, this stock has been driven down. I believe it's very oversold. So again, this is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence, but I'm trying to lay out some of the facts for you guys so that you can see what's happening here. Okay, let's get to the March operations update. RIOT Blockchain announces March 2022 production and operations update. This was put out April 5th. Today's April 11th. I was at the Bitcoin conference in between, so this is a couple of days later than I would normally do this, but I think it's really worth a look. RIOT produced a company record 511 Bitcoin in March of 2022, so that was a very good sign. This is their first time over 500 Bitcoin produced in a month. 511 is the most they've ever produced. RIOT continues to move in the right direction month after month. And as we go through this operational update, one of the things that I like about RIOT, and I believe they did that again this month, is they are doing what they say they're going to do. So they are on plan, and it is a good plan. So you'll see steady growth, and you'll see them hitting their targets that they talked about in the previous month. Production updates. In March of 2022, RIOT produced 511 Bitcoin, an increase of approximately 176% compared to March of 2021, production of 185 Bitcoins. So almost a triple from last year, but as you guys know, if you're familiar with the channel, I like to compare month over month because this industry is changing so rapidly that the year over years are oftentimes not very meaningful. So what I want to do is go back to February. So you'll see if we look, RIOT Blockchain announces February production. RIOT produced 436 Bitcoin in the month of February. So if you do the math, remember February has less days, that's about 15.5 Bitcoin per day. So in March, they went up to about 16.5 Bitcoin per day. So again, they continue to tick up month after month after month. RIOT currently has a deployed fleet of approximately 42,919 miners with a hash rate capacity of 4.3 exahash per second. So again, if we compare that to last month, at the end of February, they were at 3.9 exahash per second. They are now at 4.3 exahash per second. So almost a half an exahash in growth per month. They seem to be ticking along at this rate, and you'll see they're projecting similar things in the months to come. Bitcoin Treasury Management update as of March 31st, 2022. RIOT held approximately 6,062 Bitcoin, all produced by the company's self-mining operations. So they're now over 6,000 self-mined Bitcoins. They are one of the leaders. Now, this is something a little bit new. In March of 2022, RIOT sold 200 Bitcoin at an average sales price of approximately $47,090. Proceeds from the sales equated to approximately $9.4 million. So they mined 511 Bitcoin. They did sell 200 in March. So I think this is indicative of a strategy that companies are going to be moving to on a going forward basis. In 2021, most of the miners hodled 100% of the Bitcoin that they mined. Through debt, but mostly equity, which is dilutive to the shareholders, they continue to raise money for operations and growth. So I think they're all going to take a little bit more of a balanced approach. Things seem to be moving in that direction, but they go on to say Riot is monitoring its balance sheet on an ongoing basis, evaluating the level of Bitcoin retained from monthly production in consideration of operations and expansion cash requirements. The company continues to hold a long-term view on its Bitcoin holdings and believes it is in the best interest of shareholders to have a strong Bitcoin holdings on the balance sheet. So they are committed to hodling. They're just backing off of this 100% hodl. And those of you familiar with the channel, I've been talking about this for several months. The Bitcoin miners cannot continue to just hodl 100% of every Bitcoin they get. They will be forced to continue to dilute their stock further and further and further. Even if they use debt, that debt needs to be paid off. So if they're not going to sell their Bitcoin to pay off their debt, then they're going to have to dilute their stock more just to pay their debt off. So at some point, they have to strike a balance. I think they will all continue to hold as much Bitcoin as they can, but balance that off by at least paying for operations. Since its last monthly update, Riot received an additional 1,080 new S19j Pros, deployed approximately 4,440 S19j Pros, so that was the 0.4 exahash increase that we saw in its immersion cooling building, along with 5,030 additional miners staged for deployment. Additionally, there's 5,430 S19j Pros that have been shipped from Bitmain and are expected to be received during April of 2022. So if we extrapolate this out, what it looks like is they've got 5,000 ready for deployment, so you would expect that those are probably going to be deployed over the course of April. So that's about another half of an exahash. So they were at 4.3 exahash, so you might expect them to see somewhere around 4.8 exahash by the end of April. And then they have another 5,430 in transit, so if they can stage those and set those up in May, then I think you can expect, and they say here, the company expects to have a total of 53,379 miners deployed with a hash rate capacity of approximately 5.4 exahash. So to me, that is their May target. This is the kind of clockwork operations they've been having for many, many months in a row. And we know that they've purchased machines to get to 12.8 exahash by the end of 2022. So it seems like they are still very much on that plan. I believe at some point later in the year, they're going to increase that number. That's just my gut feeling. That is the way the industry is going. So they have not given an indication that they're going to do that. And we'll have to wait and see if that happens. I just want to show you one page from their investor presentation just to put in perspective how this company has scaled up in a very short period of time. Riot began mining in 2018. At that time, they had 12 megawatts that they had access to mine Bitcoin. So by 2020, they had raised that up to over 51 megawatts. That's a quadruple to get to 2020. But this was just the beginning. In 2021, they acquired a 300 megawatt Bitcoin mining facility in Rockdale, Texas. And after that, they initiated a 400 megawatt expansion. You know, they went from 50 in 2020 to by the end of 2022, maybe 700. So that's a 12x again. So you can see this company has grown extremely fast. Now at 700 megawatts, they're not going to need to continue to grow at this pace. That is a massive amount of energy. They will still need to add exahash and energy over time. They seem to be executing a plan very methodically to do that. So I'm extremely comfortable with what Riot has done so far this year. Let's take a look at their chart. Okay, Bitcoin today is having a little bit of a down day. All the miners are pretty much in the red today. So you'll see this is Riot on the 1 day time frame. So today you'll see we gap down and we're red. We're down about 5% right now. We'll see where we end up on the day. But if I just look on this 1 day chart, you'll see a line of support here at just under $13. So there's still about 18.5% downside to get down to their line of support if they were to bounce off of that again. However, this line right here at just about $25 was a very strong line of support for basically the entire year of 2021. So this broke down in late December, and you can see Riot has bottomed out several times here as Bitcoin has bottomed out a few times in 2022. January 24th and February 24th being two dates that Bitcoin hit a bottom of 33,000 and 34,000. So Bitcoin's currently at about $41,000 right now, so significantly higher than that. Riot's a little bit off of those lows. So I'm looking at the downside risk is that maybe it bounces off this line of support again. On the other hand, to get from where they are right now just back to their previous line of support, which held for all of last year at numbers much lower than Bitcoin is at right now, that would be a 54% increase in the price of their stock. So to me, just for this stock to be trading healthy in any way, in my opinion, it should be getting back to this $25 line. And remember, we looked at the market cap. The market cap is off dramatically. It's down 65 or 70% from its all-time high. It's down over 50% from its recent high in November. So this line here at $25 is my short-term goal. And again, the time frames have been getting stretched out. So I don't like to put an exact date on that. I believe over the next 1 to 2 months, Riot will probably get back to this point. However, we've seen the market drag itself out. You guys have to decide with your own due diligence if this is a company worth buying and holding, if it takes longer than we may think to get to where it's going. So again, please invest wisely. All these Bitcoin miners are very volatile. One more price target. If Riot was to get back to where it was on December 3rd, when Bitcoin was about 56,000, that was just prior to the flash crash, that would be a 112% increase in the price of this stock up to just over $34. So I do think that's a realistic 2022 goal. So that's more than a double. So for me, the risk reward is maybe a downside of about 18% to bounce off of its line of support and potentially a 50 or 100% increase over maybe the rest of the year. So please, again, these are my estimates. This is not financial advice. So that's all we got for you on Riot today. Please remember to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. And thanks so much for watching. We will see you in the next video.